Bobby Lux grew up surfing in Encinitas. Drafted in 1967, Lux was in the infantry. He typically didn't even know where he was in Vietnam, except in the jungle, away from the ocean. About halfway through his tour, he was told to set down his rifle.
They took us to the beach in helicopters. I was pretty excited. Got out there, the surf was mushy, 2 foot, but they had a stack of boards there. It felt so good.
It's the one thing he likes to remember from an experience that he often tries to forget.
I know I got to stand up and ride 2 or 3 waves. And I had a few buddies that were from the Midwest, and they were wanting me to help them, try to surf it. It was beautiful, relaxing.
He thinks he was at what the Americans called China Beach, the most famous surf spot in the Vietnam War. It was an R&R station next to a large military hospital. It was actually My Khe Beach in the city of Da Nang, though there were pockets of surfers all along the coast. Many of them drafted Californians hungry for the taste of life back home. Lux was at the beach less than 3 hours before his unit was sent back to the jungle. He wouldn't surf again until he got back to California. At age 70, he's still surfing.
War's not good for anybody.
Nope.
It's solved nothing. You can survive it, but that's all you can do.
As an individual.
As an individual, yeah. And surfing has helped me survive it.
He's not the only Vietnam vet still surfing. Lux was out at Del Mar Beach recently with Jim Lisher, a retired lifeguard and lifelong surfer. Lisher doesn't recall even seeing the ocean during his time in Vietnam. His next wave was in Hawaii. He went to the beach with 2 other surfers after getting off the plane from Vietnam.
There was a backfire on Kalakaua Boulevard, and we all went under a car. Instantly just went for cover. And that was right downtown, a block away from the beach at Waikiki, where it was completely safe.
Lisher used the massive Hawaiian waves to wash away the combat.
And I happened to take the personal challenge to see how large of a wave I could ride. So that took my mind off of the war zone quickly.
As part of an exhibit on the China Beach Surf Club, over the past 2 years, the California Surf Museum has been collecting the stories of vets who surfed in Vietnam and those who continue to use surfing as a release. The exhibit just opened in Oceanside.
Don't you think it's a little risky for R&R? If I say it's safe to surf this beach, Captain, it's safe to surf this beach!
Surfing in Vietnam has been part of the mystique of the war. Surfing was featured in the movie Apocalypse Now, and then in the 1980s in the acclaimed but short-lived TV show China Beach.
I've only learned about that through the California Surf Museum, that there was a China Beach at all. And that's partially because I avoided going to any Vietnam movies for decades and decades.
The exhibit has been a chance for vets to open up about the wider experience of the war that many of them barely spoke about after they came home, even among one another. The day he was surfing with Lux at Del Mar, Lisher ran into one of his former co-workers, Eric Sandy.
Eric.
He found out Sandy had been at China Beach during one of his 2 tours in the Navy. The 2 of them met back in California in 1972. They worked together for 40 years, but they didn't talk very much about their experience in Vietnam.
Nobody wanted to know about my experience.
When we came back, we weren't very well accepted. It wasn't like we were welcomed back as heroes.
The California Surf Museum built a replica of the Surf Shack at China Beach. They have a surfboard fashioned from the parts used to repair swift boats. Among the more than 58,000 troops killed in Vietnam, 1,200 of them died from drowning or suffocation. The exhibit recreates the equipment used by volunteers who became lifeguards for their fellow troops. The exhibit is expected to run through the end of the year. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.